Good evening, YouTubers, fellow reloaders, and people interested in a lot of other stuff that I usually mention. Tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about the three, as far as I understand, maybe somebody else can correct me, three generations of the little dandy powder charge rotor-based system from RCBS that I believe, again, somebody correct me if I'm mistaken or misspeaking, that the little dandy was introduced around with or for, not sure which, maybe all of the above, the Green Machine, the progressive reloading tool, the inline progressive reloader from RCBS that had 4 stationary dies. And the first generation, and I think you might have seen this with some of my videos, again, I don't know what's published when, is this hexagonal version where it had, this looks like most powder measures of today with, what is this, 7/8 inch threads. And it had, and this is actually from my 1981 357 Green Machine. So this is the expander for 357, and this obviously doesn't connect because it's missing a piece. And I've reached out to RCBS, but they're trying to research. I don't think the piece exists anymore as a replaceable part. So you'd have to pick it up on the secondhand market. And this piece is that little adapter. Here's a close-up of it. So that adapter sits on top of here and allows this 7/8 inch standard die to mate with that particular part. And in looking at the RCBS Green Machine manual, that's called the powder measure adapter. And, obviously goes right on there. So that was Gen 1. And for the RCBS Green Machine, you had this funky thing on the back to activate or to be activated by the machine. This one is missing that. So again, more parts that are no longer available, which reinforces maybe one of my ideas on what I'm going to do. So we're going to call that Gen 1, and flat, smooth, came with green pressure fit tube. The rotors have remained the same, and this pin, which was called the rotor guide screw, originally, and I think I misspoke in a previous video when I said that, somebody replaced it. This is the original, and it was replaced with a set screw, this screw, in the second generation. So first generation, hexagonal body, 7/8 inch screw head, adapter, powder measure adapter in order to work on the Green Machine. So on my 1981 357 Green Machine that I restored called Mousy, or Mouse, I can't use this because I can't adapt it, and it won't activate because it's missing parts. And if I take parts off one machine to put them on another, I'm still left in the same situation. And again, green tube. So this is generation 2. And generation 2 went to a round body. It also got rid of the paint and and I've wired and re-blued this. It went to, and oiled, and it went to a round body, and it went to a much larger expanding die, powder through expander die. Again, essentially the same bottom half, but it looks like what RCBS decided to do was incorporate this powder measure adapter into, so you have the top head here, and you have a body, the equivalent of the height of this powder measure adapter, so that it would then just seat and obviously rotate and lock these hex screws into whatever position you want. Ideally, it would be in back where the levers are to activate, but in the situation where you might not have levers, and you can't put that on, if this was missing, you could position it anywhere and just manually turn it, just like a throw lever. Same difference with the rotors. So that was Gen 2. And then sometime in between Gen 1 and Gen 2, they moved to clear tubes. And if you look at RCBS's page today, their website today, oh, and I forgot to mention, this also came with small and large drop tubes, depending on what you were loading. This is quite oily. Again, green, clear, and if you look at their website today, this is Gen 3, and Gen 3 looks like a combination of Gen 1 and Gen 2. So they retained the round body for Gen 3, round body, blued steel. Everything else looks kind of the same, but they went back to Gen 1 in terms of the standard mounting and got away from what they were doing with the Green Machine. So you've got, again, a morphing of the two into Gen 3, and it looks like they might have gone back to a green colored hopper, maybe not. So again, I don't know if the green versus the clear was a specific time, but I'll find out soon because I'm working with RCBS to get replacements for these broken, cracked, where's the crack? There's the crack on this one. This one's not too bad. And then again, hard to tell. It looks like, again, the pictures can be deceiving, but it looks like they went with the raised ridges for a different friction connection. I think this is actually better, especially when we consider how cracked but less broken this one is compared to that one, but it is what it is. So I think what I am going to do, I'm going to try a couple things. This will obviously stay the way it is because that functions. This one does not function because I do not have this piece and I do not have this adapter, and I'm pretty confident RCBS is going to come back with, we don't have any more of those adapters, so you're out of luck. So if I can't find one on the secondhand market, which again, kind of hard to find. And what I also thought was interesting is this is actually labeled 38-357. You might not be able to see that. This is not labeled anything in the machine that the Green Machine that this came with. The later Green Machines all had serial numbers, a little PRT tag with a serial number. I have a couple of early Green Machines that don't have a serial number and have this particular combination. One of them does have the adapter to make this work because, again, this is what was shipped with the Green Machine. Didn't match in color. So I think what I'm going to do, and parts are on order, so obviously that means a second video, is I'm going to try and emulate this. So I have ordered a Lee powder through expanding die for 38-357. I have ordered an entirely crimson mount, which allows a standard die to screw into the powder through expanding for Lee. So that would give me a manual way of dispensing powder if I wanted to use this on the Green Machine. I'm also going to strip this off and I'm going to blue it. So it will look like, it will look more like this model than the janky, rusty green finish that's on there right now. I've already done the threads. The threads were in terrible shape, both the lock ring and the threads. So, in fact, you can still see, because I didn't do anything inside here, the rust, but I did do a quick wire wheel on the threads as well as this. So I would blue this, strip this, blue it, obviously clean that. And that's the plan. The second plan, which you may have seen in a previous video, is to bypass this solution entirely, because again, even though by installing the Lee powder through expander I'd be able to expand, this wouldn't be case activated. It'd still be a manual. So if you've seen in a previous video, one of my mod ideas is to install a Lee powder measure, case activated powder measure. So when you couple the Lee powder through expander with the Lee case activated powder measure, that may solve this entire problem. So I'm trying to decide which path to go. So half a dozen of one, 6 of another. And just as an FYI, in all my cleaning and restoring, I finally ran out of my REM oil, this can, and that's what I paid for it. So I don't know what you guys are now paying for REM oil, but I know it's a lot more than $6.95, and I don't know that there's a year stamped on here. I've had this can a very, very long time, so sorry to see it go, but it's done me well, and I think REM oil is probably double or triple that now online. I'll check the Rainforest and some local shops, but I think it's a lot more than $6.95. In any case, all right, that's the plan for Gen 1. I'm going to take a Gen 1 and make it look like a Gen 2 and maybe operate like a Gen 3 with case-activated powder through expander measure thingy bob. So, obviously more to come. Later. And we are back. I think I'm going to add this particular segment onto my Dandy Rotor, my 3 generations of Dandy Rotor video I did a little while back, which you probably haven't seen yet. But in between that video and this, I have since blued what was once green. So it kind of has a Gen 2, Gen 3 look for a Gen 1 body. And we'll talk about this in a minute. Again, depending on when you're seeing this stuff, this can't adapt to the presses that I have because there's a missing adapter that goes on top of one of the pieces. As you may or may not recall, with this Gen 2 version, this is the piece that would have gone on top of my powder adapter. So there is no way to mate these two. So I cannot use this on my press that I call Dusty because I don't have this piece. So I decided to go a different route with powder charging on Dusty, or one of my powder charging options, which you'll see shortly in another video. But in the meantime, I did opt for, because I'm going to tinker with a Lee solution, I did opt for this solution by Entirely Crimson. Which allows me to mount a standard 7/8 threaded powder charge into a Lee powder through adapter, powder through rifle, powder through pistol, expanding adapter. So you'll see more of this shortly. But today's video, as I make a little room for my big ass self, is the continuation of the rotor story. So when I looked up, I did a quick look. Oh, there's 26 rotors. No, there's not 26. There's 28, because they started counting at 0, 0, then 0, then 1 through 26. So there's actually 28 of these bad boys. 28 of these bad boys, of which I have, through 2 separate press acquisitions, I have a number of these particular rotors, which are anywhere from $11.99 to Amazon has them from like 18 bucks. eBay has them for sky's the limit. But since I had all these, I was thinking about storage, and this is kind of lame, and I don't know if you recall, but when I picked these up, they were in a shotgun shell, an old Herter's 12 gauge shotgun shell case, which preserved them quite well. In fact, what I thought were going to be some janky ass notes and labels were actually the original, that one's a little too tight to see, were the original, this powder charge from this rotor must be checked on an accurate scale prior to loading ammunition. Read and follow your measure instructions. Wipe rotor clean before use. I should have read it like Featherhead. This rotor. This is this rotor. So, I found this online by accidente. Again, I was going to make something, and somebody beat me to the punch because it's actually kind of hard to find anything. Oh, he looks like he did this with Forstner bits. Yes, those are Forstner bits. So he's got a nice oak, which I will probably finish in some poly, wipe on poly. So, in fact, I was going to put these in here right now, but you know what? I think with the oil, I will, well, this is rough. I think I will sand this. This is really rough. I think I will improve upon this gentleman's efforts. So, this gentleman whose initials are probably CHM, and the idea behind this is rotor storage. So there are, which is what I was trying to avoid, getting the oils from the rotors on here before I put wipe on poly. There are 4 by 7, 28. There are 28. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these are all single, no duplicates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 20. I have up to 26, and I'm missing, I probably tapped a wrong one. Trying to be too cool with my counting. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 24. So I'm missing 0, 0, 0, 1, and let's see, this is 22. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15. But I'm not technically missing 15 because 15 is right here. So I could take it out of here, put it in here, which I may do. So I'm missing 0, 0, 0, and 1. I'm missing 3, total of 3. So yeah, I think, and this, for those of you who may or may not remember, was another press. This was from the Closet Find from 1982. And this is 10 rotors, numbers 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So duplicates, new in box, never removed. That's probably where I will keep them too. because that's just too cool. So this, yeah, I'm going to sand this down and give it a better treatment. So his drilling was good. His routing was good. His surface, how he left the surface, leaves a little bit to be desired, but that's okay because I can do that. All right, that is it for now. Hello, YouTubers. We are back. We are going to call this the end of the Dandy Rotor video. Rotor number 15, if you recall. And I did take this out, sanded it. It was just a rough cut. So now it's got a coat of poly inside, top, bottom, sides. And it's smooth, so it doesn't feel as rough as it did originally. So we will start. This should be 0, 0. This should be 0. This should be 1. So that makes this 2. 2. Now the rest of the video will be this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 17, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 26, 23, 24, and hopefully it's 25. Yes. All right, let me get a little towel and wipe off all the greases. One thing I noticed when these were cut and stamped, different machine surfacing, so you can tell, you know, when you look at where the grains are on the actual cuts. This is, you know, they're different. So it's cut and then it's just rolled and then stamped. The other interesting thing is not all of these are the same. So when you look at, here's 3 bands, here's 2 bands. So this 20 versus a 22, you know, same rotor, but different bands. So, you know, this was old, so I don't know, you know, if the 3 band is the current or the 2 band is the current. So maybe I'll look online. Not that it matters, but it also looks like, you know, maybe it's a tooling thing, whoever was doing the tooling at the time. It looks like the middle band is different than in some than the others. But yeah, I don't know what the correct banding is, and it really doesn't matter either. So I'll keep these oiled, or at least not let them dry out. And we're going to call that a wrap to the rotor. Maybe I take this one off because I don't know that I'm going to be using this particular because I have now spare parts galore due to the number of machines I have. So this 15, now that I've started this, I must finish it. I think it's 1/8. No, it's not. It's amazing how many different Allen keys are on this press. And that will have to stay together. All right, so there's 15. Actually, no, that was 18. Oh, my bad. I thought I had a 15. Okay, that was for naught. So we'll probably put that back together because I don't need 2 18s. I thought it read 15. My eyes are getting bad. Maybe the other rotor. Let's see. What do we have? Yes, it's the rotor in my press that is the 15. So we do have a 15. So we're just missing 0, 0, 0, and 1. That's a wrap. We are done with the handy dandy and the rotor. And now we have a rotor rack. Later.